Okay, Monday, 4th of March 2024. Daily cap trade review for the ES and the NQ. Had another red day today. Lost about 10 points on the NQ. Mostly followed my process, so kind of happy about that. If I had followed the process exactly, I would have turned out to be green. Obviously something to say for just following the process. Regardless, the little detour that I took had some sense behind it. It wasn't an emotionally charged or my usual subjective way of thinking when I'm in the thick of it. So we'll see what I did and why I did. Let's go with the plans first, and then we'll go through over the trade. There really wasn't any level that I was watching on the ES as such. It's really far away from any sort of value. Obviously, this is little volume bulge that is building now. After yesterday's action, this is all yesterday's action. So prior to that, this wasn't available, and then the only real ledge I had was down here, 51.10s, and it was really highly unlikely given the recent shift going imbalanced up that will come all the way down and test this ledge the next day or today on Monday basically, and that's what happened. So yes, I was actually almost prepared to not do anything, and then NQ had still slightly better looking structure to take trades off of, and that was my main focus for today. ES had this 2 ticks worth of singles left over from Friday, so this was just a basic minor area that I was observing it on. I wasn't planning to take trades off of here, but to observe the action around the day and where it's trading in respect to the recent structure. This was the level 51.39 that I was watching, whether ES stays and holds above it or it starts to come underneath and fill all this poor structure, the breakout structure from last Friday. For the NQ, the overarching story is still similar. We have this value way down Friday's breakout points. So I wasn't expecting this to get tested on Monday as such, but NQ had built a lot of value here overnight, a lot of value here up top on the Friday session, and overnight it was trading entirely here in the upper distribution, only to break down slightly. So we had all this consolidation, 1.5 hours worth of consolidation here after Friday's extremely emotional breakout. And overnight we're spending all of our time here, and we're going to open at the bottom end of this part. So there was this, looks different today, but there was this little mass of volume that was here, and then we had so much singles down there. The action on Friday was so bloody emotional, right? 4 sets of singles, it just went straight up. So that was really my main level of interest today, as I've marked here it as a minor ledge. So the basic idea was I'm not looking to go long from here, but I'm looking to go short. If we can break underneath it, hold it, retest, and I would go short here. My target would be this. This is basically another just tiny bit of volume that was built prior to continuing this leg up with 3 sets of singles. So I would take a shot here from this uh, until this little volume place, well, I don't know, little, yeah, a volume cluster, to say. And I'll close my shots here if I was in a shot, and then I would look for a long scalp from here. And then the main long area was here. From here, I was only looking for scalp long because this is not necessarily the best area. Um, this would have been important because we would just cleaned out most of the singles here. There was just a tiny bit left here. And then this was the RTH mid, so this was half back, and then there would have been enough confluences here to take a scalp long if we had the opportunity. And then only longs from here. This area was a little bit unclear to me to exactly point out the ledge. So my plan was to take a trade along off of this first one, and if this were to break, I would just let it be and either wait for a recapture or just like all hell go loose, and then maybe we'll go look for a shot. But that wasn't the plan. Now going over the ES first because really nothing happened. It was extremely slow, extremely choppy throughout the morning. It moved in a 9 point range for like 2.5 hours or so. It just did not move at all. It obviously didn't even close once underneath the single levels. It opened underneath it, but it just came up top. Spent a lot of time here, but never was able to close it. The first 5 sessions had a range of 9 points and a takeout 2-6. So 2.5 hours ES really did not move. Even though it looks very clear that obviously we're holding, it should have been long, yada yada yada. That wasn't my plan, but if this were to be planned, but it was really choppy, just back and forth, back and forth. Absolutely insane kind of action there. And then K period comes and it just rips up. This takes like 2 minutes here. You just straight shot higher, only to spend some time here, get some more volume, and then sell off. And that's something that I wasn't expecting at all. So I wasn't here in any sort of. I wasn't looking for any sort of trade anywhere here anyway, but just to say that I wasn't expecting this kind of outcome. A little below fail, a little bit above and fail of the prior day high, the all-time high, the prior week high. These are all the same levels, so did give a nice little retest, regardless. So ES, nothing really came into play. Now overnight, we are kind of selling off. At least at this point of time, at 3 a.m., it looks like a gap down maybe, but the EU session is opening up, and we never know. We'll see before the open where we are. Now coming to NQ. So NQ opened right at this little underneath all this volume shelf, or just at the bottom part of this volume shelf, and started to break down. The ES and the NQ were divergent all day. Like NQ was holding underneath its open. It was keeping itself red throughout the day, where ES never even saw the open after opening. And even though it was slow and excruciating, it was just a slow grind up. NQ was the opposite. It wasn't a slow grind down, but it was just rotational in negative territory. So we broke, and this is where I take my first trade. Although I would have liked for this to have broken slightly, a little bit more maybe. Normally I would have liked like another 10-15 points worth of breaking down just to have that much of range. But I decided to take this one because there's a lot of volume here that would they will be scared once we are holding underneath it. I decided to take this first one. System base doesn't really matter. I take a 12-point loss, and then I took the second one, and then the second one worked out in the beginning. I got my 2 to 1. I got 24, 25 points out of it, exactly almost 2 to 1. And I decided to keep it, which is fine because this was my level, and my plan is that maybe we'll see all the way down here. But ES was really holding its fort, and NQ just did not want to give up. So came here. The worst thing that I did here was I moved my stop a break even a little bit lower, and what it did was it did not respect the structure, and then now my stop is just based on my P&L rather than the way the market is moving, and then that is pretty much just a recipe for disaster. So I did not follow the structure. Did not keep it behind even the most recent swing. That would have put my stop loss at like 4 or 5 points from my entry, but I decided not to do that. I rather put it break even plus 2 points, not even break even, and then as it pulled itself back up, I stopped out on the top of this wick, so my stop was 315 or so, I guess, and the top of this candle is 31550, so 2 ticks, got top tick, and it rolled over, and that was the worst mistake that I did. Even if I had kept it exact break even, I would still have been able to capture this trade, but because I did not really manage my stop well, and I trailed it rather arbitrarily, there was my demise for the day. I did not, although I followed my process well while executing, I did not follow it well while managing it, and that was the end of the day, because I really should have come out positive today, and things were working out as they should have, but as I deviated from the process, even though my thought process I still think was okay, but the way I actually went about that thought process, that was something that I need to take care of next time. So something I need to work on and improve for next time. If I'm going for a longer run, I really need to accept the risk and not just put it break even and hope for the best. Things still have to make sense. And yeah, pretty much that is my biggest learning from today, that things need to make sense. Obviously, there's nothing to say that I could have kept my stop behind this most recent swing or just above the break-even point, and this would have come all the way up here and still taking me out. Obviously, that's possible, but it's still, that would have happened in a structured and meaningful way rather than in an arbitrary manner. So that is my biggest thing. This should have been really 20 points green or whatever, 30 points green, because this ended up rolling to 3 to 1 even more. And that was that. I didn't take anything else throughout the day. Maybe I could have taken this because we are still holding underneath, but this would have been the third try. I do not take third try, so it doesn't bother me that I did not take it. But obviously, those were available. VWAP was flat. It's DVA -2. It's holding underneath the low. There are enough things going for it. Although this came in pretty hot when that part actually came in. So after spending all this time here, it just, in 10 minutes, it reeled another top. So it came in pretty hot, but maybe that was the idea, that it came in so hot and it really didn't extend at all for the next 15 minutes. So would have been decent. place to take. And it just kept on holding throughout the day, only at the end of the day where it finally breaks. And at this point of time, I just left because I wasn't planning on taking longs from here anyway. And it broke quite a bit. It's 16 points, extended 16-20 points, which is decent enough. Spent like 45 minutes here, which is even more important because I spent a lot of time and volume down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9, 5, 45 plus is almost an hour spent above. And then it just decided to break down and broke down rather ferociously. And ended up closing with a spike. Not something that I was expecting. That will break, will keep this and will dump, but ended up happening anyway. And then while this was dumping, only 10 minutes left to the close, so even if we were to come here, I would not have taken that trade. And it did end up coming here overnight. It never really produced any positive outcome, which leads me to believe I should really just not mess around or play with my levels and just keep the most important ones. And we get a trade, we get a trade. We don't get a trade, we don't get a trade, because most likely if that were to be a good level, it would have been respected in some sort of way, even overnight. Obviously the best levels can break in an instant, but usually there's enough positive excursion if the level is actually really good that you could still take a trade off of it, especially in NQ. And it not turning out this way, that there's absolutely no positive excursion, that really just leads me to believe that that wasn't a good level in the first place. Not sure what would have happened if we were to come here during actual RTH hours in a different sort of scenario, because context matters. But regardless, these levels I still think are quite important. As I said, I could not really place my head exactly as to where should I place the ledge, because this marks the top end of this multi-week balance. 3-week balance, this is the top of it, and then this is basically all the value and the pretty much the ledge and Friday's low. So there's so many things here, but now with more structure, with a little bit more information, we can come up with a better plan for tomorrow. Obviously it's 3:20 now and looks like a nice little gap down sort of situation. Almost 100-point gap at this point of time. We'll see where we open. Do we gap down a little bit even more, or we retrace this gap before the open? We'll see how it goes in a few hours. It ended up closing with a spike down. It was really weak all day as compared to ES, which ended up positive. It just never saw its open again. It went one tick down and then that was that. NQ went few ticks up, few points up, and then it just stayed down the entire day. And yeah, that was two trades, one loss, one stupid break even. But here's to improving the process and improving myself to be able to follow this process to the T. Awesome.